Welcome to the Credential as You Go initiative, exploring how to transform the nation's credentialing system to include incremental credentials to build a fairer system that recognizes and formally documents what learners know and can do. Today's session is on building incremental credentials using the Incremental Credentialing Framework. Incremental credentials capture learning as it is acquired along the way and formally recognizes and connects that learning to a larger context of education and employment. Incremental credentials can be non-credit and credit-bearing, undergraduate and graduate, any size, from small units of learning up through degrees. The purpose is to ensure learners are not left without formal documentation of their knowledge and skills. As Shakespeare said, "That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet." There are many terms being used to describe different types and sizes of credentials. For example, some use badges and micro-credentials interchangeably. Incremental credentials is an overarching term encompassing all different types of credentials. Incremental credentialing recognizes knowledge and skills at all levels and leads learners to additional credentials for further education and employment. It integrates workforce and prior learning. It is a system that is permeable and integrated. And it is a learner-centered system connecting all different types of credentials along the learner's lifetime. The Incremental Credentialing Framework was developed during Phase 1 of Credential as You Go by examining credentialing trends across the country. The resulting 6 approaches provide ways to develop and implement incremental credentials. Each can incorporate external or prior learning as part of its design. These approaches are not exclusive of each other. Rather, many credentials integrate multiple approaches. In order to ensure learners acquire credentials as they go, auto-awarding is incorporated into the framework. In the first approach, Learn as You Go, incremental credentials stand on their own. They are connected or unconnected to other credentials, for credit or non-credit, focused on skilling, reskilling, and upskilling. Learn as You Go credentials target specific academic and employment skills, especially entry level. This approach provides multiple points for rapid entry into and upward mobility within employment or continuing education. And it provides learners opportunities to return and keep developing new skills. Examples include training such as customer service, management, or manufacturing. Employment or academic skill development such as computer skills, writing skills, math skills. Or building on prior learning, filling in missing skills, or taking learners to the next level. When developing Learn as You Go approaches, consider different industry connections that can be made. Use skills mapping to determine sequential and prerequisite skills. Consider how prior learning is tied to new learning, especially in cases of upskilling and reskilling. What do people already know that can be applied to the next level of skills? The second approach, Add On as You Go, focuses on specializations for more in-depth learning than skill development. This helps learners gain additional areas for advancement in employment and education. They can be credit or non-credit and may or may not be part of an academic program. They could be focused on a major or a minor area in a degree, or additional licenses, certifications, certificates, or other types of credentials that are field recognized. Examples include skill development for workplace advancement, such as human resources for managers. There are specialized credentials, such as project management professional certification, that could be acquired by building competencies needed through academic programming. Additional majors or minors could be added, for example, entrepreneurship for business majors. Consider areas in which employment and academic areas can be connected. How can you develop specializations that expand upon what is already in place, working with industry partners, identifying skill areas that are needed to advance their employees? The third approach, Stack as You Go, is the one we hear a lot about. Smaller credentials add together or stack into larger credentials, including degrees, forming a credentialing pathway. This approach is also about transitioning credentials from one to the next. These are strategically planned and may integrate employment pathways as well. Examples include a microcredential in basic electricity that leads to an associate degree in manufacturing, a microcredential in basic management that stacks on top of an AOS degree in manufacturing and leads into a bachelor's degree in business management, a bachelor's degree divided into 3 microcredentials that stack back into the degree, an urban planning certificate stacked with a microcredential in sustainable development plus some additional courses becomes a master's in community and economic development. Consider the various knowledge and skills needed and their sequencing for full learning pathways that interconnect different credentials and at what points credentials can seal in learning. These points may include credentials that stack into larger ones, credentials at transition points between credentials, or credentials that fit into an employment pathway. The fourth approach, transfer as you go, incremental credentials are designed specifically to transfer across academic departments and institutions. In this approach, transfer options are designed into the credentials collaboratively across departments or institutions. This approach can be used as a potential cost-sharing mechanism. A credential at one institution is open to students at another institution through a formalized transfer agreement. Examples include an associate-level business fundamentals microcredential transfers into a bachelor's level business degree. A bachelor's level advanced certificate in human resource management transfers into a master's program. A museum studies microcredential offered by one institution transfers into a second institution for its students studying art or history. Consider how learning and recognition continues from one program to the next. Faculty work together across departments, degree levels, or institutions to create joining pathways. The fifth approach, partner as you go, combines workplace learning or field-accepted credentials with academic programs. Developed in conjunction with business and industry partners, institutions incorporate workplace learning or credentials into academic offerings, or provide opportunities to earn workplace credentials within the academic program. The focus is on integrating workplace and academic learning. Partnerships can provide a pipeline of learners, often with educational benefits. Examples include evaluator manager training provided by an industry partner is integrated into a management micro-credential, certificate, and degree. A business degree maps directly to a Society for Human Resource Management (SHRM) certification. Cisco certifications are gained within a technology program. Apprenticeships also fall within the partnering approach, which is a growing opportunity in many occupational and academic programs. In this approach, efforts are focused on the alignment of skills, competencies, and learning outcomes to translate learning back and forth between industry and academic settings. The sixth approach is retro award as you go. In this case, incremental credentials are awarded for learning already acquired, but not yet credentialed. There are almost 40 million adults in this country who have some college but no credential. Many institutions are working to attract these adults back to school and to recognize them for what they know and can do. The Retro Award As You Go approach focuses on creating credentials that formally recognize learning already achieved or builds natural entry and exit points. Examples include credentials in high attrition areas such as STEM courses. Program core or general education classes are being formed into a credential, such as badges in Florida. Some credentials could differ in lengths than traditional degrees, such as 1 year or 3-year credentials, or 4-year institutions offering the equivalent of a 2-year credential. Many states have legislation calling for reverse transfer associate degrees that enable awarding of a credential for community college transfer students. There also could be self-designed credentials that capture learning already acquired. Consider developing criteria for different types of credentials. Examine patterns of attrition to identify students' natural exit points. Develop systematic degree audits to capture the learning as it is acquired. As you begin to develop incremental credentials, there are lots of questions to consider. Which incremental credentials already exist at your institution, and how can they be expanded or built upon? How do your current credentials align with the framework? Do you tend to have more credentials in certain areas of the framework but not others? Which certificates or degrees could be redefined to create smaller credentials? Which prerequisite skills are needed across multiple programs that could be combined to create entry points for learners? What are the kinds of knowledge and skills that people need to be able to develop newer skills or upskill or reskill to be able to continue into programs? Which transition skills are needed to move from one program to the next? Which transition skills are needed to move from school to work or from work to school? How can incremental credentials support learners as they move through their lives with school, work, and other commitments? Which industries could you partner with to strengthen skill development and integrate workplace learning with academic learning? What guidance is being offered by your regional or specialized accreditation groups? The schedule on this slide provides a list of the upcoming mini-conferences. The next session is on communication, within which we will share different approaches to informing learners, employers, and others about incremental credential opportunities. Previous sessions focused on making the case for incremental credentialing and how policy impacts the credentialing arena. These will soon be released on the website. Want to learn more? There are many ways to reach us. Please visit our website, www.credentialasyougou.org. Questions or comments? Email us at info@credentialasyougou.org. Sign up for our newsletter for the latest information. The website has a link to sign up, and follow us on social media. Thank you.